And then we're going to have people practice, students practice in pairs. And then what we're going to do for the enactment activity is hand out cards with different countries' names and a flag. So country name and a flag in the corner. And then students are going to walk around introducing themselves with a card on their chest or whatever, around the neck, or you can just hold it. And then the students must collect 3 names from all countries and then record it. And then comprehension activity, maybe kind of just recalling. We're going to have the countries written up on the board, and then I'll have a card with just the flag on it. And so we'll split them up into maybe like 3 teams, and then we'll bring 3 teams up after that. We'll do some kind of point system, and then you just show the country's flag, and then whoever raises their hand first, you give them like a sticky ball or a hammer or something, and they'll say the name of the country, and then throw the ball at the country that they do. And if they're right, they get a point. And then, yeah, that's going to be the entire lesson basically. And then for homework, they're going to draw a flag of a country that the teacher gives them. So we're going to be really specific, I guess, and just maybe give them American flag or South African flag. And then later on in the next lesson, they're going to describe it in the next set of sentence patterns and vocabulary. We'll focus on being able to describe a flag. Yes.
So, do you guys have any questions for that?
Objective. I'd rather use from the USA than America.
United States?
Yeah, from the USA or from the United States of America and so on.
Well, the thing is, like, if we're trying to like teach naturalists, like no one ever says like, well, some people say I'm from the United States, but more people say I'm from America. But I'm from the States. But no one really says I'm from the United States.
So maybe the question is, why would you prefer to teach I am from the country name? So maybe share your rationale.
Because Canada is also North America, and
and
South America, and there's Central America. Okay, those people don't claim to be Americans, but I'd rather say the United States of America, and then also the United Kingdom instead of the US. But okay, you didn't use that term.
But the focus, our focus was, okay, I know what you say United States, but you can have sentence that we don't want them to say I'm from the United States. Okay, yeah, well,
then rather cut America
our endings of the AN,
already.
In the phonics section. Yeah, the phonics section we're teaching.
So maybe we can think about like pros and cons, like in terms of teaching I am from the, or maybe like what are the extra things that the kids are learning, or the extra practice the kids are getting, right? So if you're saying country name, right, it's an extra step to do I am American, right? But if you're saying I am from the US, from America, from Canada, from blah blah blah, then you are giving them extra practice with the country name. So then you have to kind of think about, okay, where do they need more practice? If they, so this is where you have to check with your kids. If they've mastered all the country names, and I think in your lesson you're assuming that they can just know Taiwan, Japan, Korea, but maybe they don't, right? And then now, before fully mastering like all the country names, they have to make the next step into say I am American, I am Canadian. Then is that going to be a little bit chaotic or fast for your kids? Because then you have them stand up and say, hey, I am, where are you from? I'm from America, I am American, right? So, but what about your weakest kids? Will they be able to say that? Will they either remember American, Canadian, Korean, Japanese? So kind of think about that. And then I like the game is great because of everybody's practicing. So I would almost flip it and do the game first, and then have this really open-ended activity where I am just interacting with my peers. Because from a group game, you can kind of tell who's getting, who's sometimes they don't even know where are you from, or you know, so they're like, right, and then so then you also have to teach how the partner will have to kind of help the really, you know, be your kid in the class.
I just feel like that's like super slow for like a 6th grader. Like I think they can remember
Country names.
like three words. I'm from Taiwan. If they hear it enough times, like so first, they're gonna hear the teacher model it, then they're gonna hear the teacher model it with the student, and then they're gonna practice in pairs. And then they get up, so by the time they're doing the activity, it's like they've heard the sentence like 6-7 times.
Well, that's just one sentence, right?
The
And
nationality
you
is
need to-
totally different. I think it should almost be a different lesson than also.
Really, so
Later
it's
on.
much. Okay, that's really good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, so I
That's going to be confusing if you do where you're from. Okay, then you've got this where you're from and the answer.
Wow.
But then nationality is another thing.
The sentence is, there's too much sentence.
Too many sentences.
Sorry.
So
And it's different then. Yeah.
So I think if you think about it, basically you assume you have a kindergarten along with the really advanced sixth grader in terms of their English ability in the same class, and you have to do a lesson where this person will be okay, and then your really advanced kid will also be okay, and then so this is where you have to get the kids to really help each other, but then you can't go too fast because maybe 50% of the kids will be closer to grade 1, you know, kindergarten. So you have to sort of be patient.
So I can break this up into at least 2 lessons.
I think it was here on Tuesday or Wednesday that said you should always make your aim your lesson for average and below. Is that what you said?
At 50%,
yeah, that type
like
of,
in the middle.
and then or something like that. Think of your students between average and below.
Yeah.
I think you should always worry about the weakest. Okay, not the special ones that really have no English, that don't understand it, but the lowest step. Yeah, that they're all with you. That at least they've got the vocabulary down. They can just remember those things and associate it with a picture.
Because we naturally say, okay, 5 and 6 you can talk, but what is the second?
You'll be really surprised because sometimes we drill the same set of vocab in this class, but they will never use it or hear it or even look at it until the next week they see you. Then it's like, well, it's brand new. Let's do it again.
So homework. Will they do the homework?
Some yes, some no. And it depends on what the homework is. It could be done really well or really poorly.
If it's very simple.
Right?
It's very simple.
I try and do it all in the class.
If
And
your
like
school allows you to do the homework in the class, do it in the class. You'll get much more learning out of the kids.
See, like Mary was saying this morning, she gets those helpers and they check that everything is done in the class before she's finished, and it's done. They know real homework. So they do.
Yeah, check with your school. Some schools are okay with that, and some schools are not totally okay with that. Because sometimes some co-teachers are okay with that, and some are not. And then some will ask you to start it, but then they have to finish. So I still have both experiences. What has your experience been like?
If they do really have to go and do it at home, they don't do it. Many of them don't do it. And they pick out all the right ones, the ones that are supposed to be within English, and they copy from them before they come to the class. So maybe they still learn something. Don't make a mistake, they're still learning it by even copying. But they don't actually go and do it at home.
What's thankful for the poor learner or the weak learner to copy? Is he learns
Yes, he
not
does.
intentionally, but
He does learn from his copying because most of the time he copies wrong too. But
right, but still he tries.
So sometimes when you have them start in class and finish in class, you can also walk around and you'll know what they're struggling with. And then this is when you also learn that maybe your worksheet is too difficult or or you skipped a step in your worksheet and they're not able to do it, and then you can figure out what component you sort of skipped over, and then that way your next worksheet will be more manageable and it will be more geared more toward that kid's level or the kids' level in the different classrooms. Okay. All right, let's have our next group. Anybody? Ben?
We didn't really work
We didn't.
together.
Yeah,
We did something completely different.
Can you do that and then I'll... Can I talk about this thing here?
Okay, sounds good.
This is present continuous tense.
Okay.
So I looked at it first as just, what are you doing? I'm studying, I'm eating lunch, I'm sleeping, I'm watching TV. But then I was thinking, like before, I was teaching grade 2s actually in the bilingual school. And with grade 2s, we did some changes, like if to drop the E, like dance, dancing, then you drop it. And drive, driving, write, writing. And then the other one where it's a short vowel and then you have all the consonant after it. So I was writing these things down and then went back there and I realized that none of these changing. It's only just ones that you just add the ing to the end. So I'm totally off the point there with the first lesson. And then I was just looking at the pictures that's in the story here. And okay, the basic rule is when the question has got ing, then the answer has got ing too. Okay, so I was looking at the picture and what is Momo doing? Okay, first of all, this book, it doesn't seem to have the characters. So it doesn't have the name. Say again? It's not in front, I've looked.
Yeah, in the teacher's guide.
Oh, there they are. Okay. There's one more, I missed it. Okay. Momo's the dog. Okay, yeah, so there was something. What is Momo doing? He's sleeping. What is Dora's dad doing? He's sleeping. What is the guy on the TV doing? So lots of talking about the illustrations and not the actual, not the actual story. Okay. So I was totally off the point and I didn't okay. But also the transitional right, doing her homework. What is she doing? She's doing her homework. She's, where you have, she's taking, what is she doing? She's taking something from the shop. The ones that they are using here are just straightforward. There's no change. Just add ing. So this basically means that I shouldn't be using all these extra things. One picks out things where there's the least change.
So I think this is where the negotiation with your co-teacher comes in, right? Some co-teachers will say, I've got the book covered. You don't need to cover anything from the book. Actually, the book is just, not needed for you in your classroom, in the sense that I will cover all the content and you don't need to do that. Or sometimes they'll say, hey, I ran out of time teaching, dropping the E, adding ing. Could you do
this is not in the book at all.
Practice. But your co-teacher may be teaching it in her class. And then so you have to talk to your co-teacher and figure out what she's doing in her class. For example, when I did the ing unit with Lisa, she did dropping the E, double the consonants, and we went over all the different rules. She did it in her class, and maybe she has a way of explaining it to the kids, but she asked me to do it again with the kids in English only, and then see how much they get out of it, so that they are able to make the translation between what she's explained into what I'm telling them in English only. So that's a preference. Or maybe like this year, I'm working with a different co-teacher. She's like, oh, you don't even bother covering the grammar because I will do all of that. You figure out a project you want to do with your kids in the class, and then then, you know, figure out an end product that they'll have. So for me, then I'm thinking, okay, I want them to be able to present a series of activities and then have people guess where they are in the house. So for example, I am brushing my teeth, I'm taking a bath, you know, I'm looking in the mirror or whatever, or I am like, you know, peeing or pooing, sorry, excuse me. So where am I? Something like that. So if it's something each person can sort of form an ing sentence, and then so what would I need to teach? Maybe I need to teach rooms of the house because maybe they haven't learned that yet. Maybe I need to teach some new verbs, and then I need to practice how to make those into ing words, right? And then I need to fit those words into my sentence pattern. I am blah blah blah, you know. And then, you know, you figure out the different pieces that you need to make your lesson work, so that the kids will be able to present, you know, and be able to say their sentence. And maybe in groups of 4, they need to say their sentences to each other, and you need to have a way of checking that they've actually done that in the group without goofing off or doing something silly. So something to that effect. But you have to negotiate with your group teacher because she can or he can best tell you what to do or how to break up the tasks. Maybe there's a actually for this book there's a section on tongue twisters where a co-teacher may want to do it or she may not want to do it. Last year I sort of had the kids time each other, right? And then they have, you know, competitions in pairs. Or there was a class competition. I choose top 3 from the grade after they've done their class competition, and then I do a small reward, like it's a drink or whatever, at the end of every 2 weeks or something like that. You can create a program to kind of motivate the kids to do more, to practice more, or, you know, it's within your right. So something to that effect. But it's really important to have it attentive.
But then, for example, now this, then, but you won't do those special words in the testing. In the test, you only do words where you just add the ing.
No, that's not true. I will test them on whatever I've taught and practiced in class. And then you'll find that if you do all the special cases like drop an E, add ing, because Lisa also did that in her class. So between her class and my class, we've actually covered it extensively. So actually there is a portion of my test where there are like 20 words, and they are expected to make the necessary changes to write down the words in the correct ing format. You know, so you can. It's whatever you've taught. But then you do have to be, like for example, before the exam, I will send home sort of a little note with the things that I will cover, the topics that I will.
What are you doing?
Or I will tell them, you know, it's handout 1, 3, and 5. If you lost that handout, then please go to 7-Eleven, copy somebody else's, or tell me I'll make copies for you, so that you will have that for the test. And then we also do sort of like, I give practice worksheets before exams, for the review exam week, to help the kids, you know, catch up on things that maybe they missed the first time around. So you have to figure out how you want to do your review and how to gear your review to really help the kids study if that's the only time they decided to study for your exam. Okay? So shall we move on to the next one?
Sure. You guys want to hear from me, or?
Yes, we do.
Yes, please do.
I did an aside lesson, which is American food, unrelated to any of the textbooks. It's a week 1 activity with just vocabulary. So the stuff that's going to be needed: flashcards, food cutouts, a worksheet, and a notebook or something I'm going to design for their homework assignment. And the reason I chose this is because American food is wildly popular in Taiwan. You notice, like in the morning, like the line at McDonald's is way longer than any line at amazing Taiwanese breakfast stands. You know, so I don't know why, because it's horrible food. Anyway, so my vocab words, I only chose 5 to focus on: hamburger, hot dog, pizza, spaghetti, and fried chicken. So yeah, here we go. Warm up. Review of the vocab phonetically. We clap it out. And I'm going to keep the word cards and the picture cards up on the board for the first like 70% of class. So they're up there, they can see them. They have no excuse not to know the connection. Okay? Now the first activity is a group activity. I usually divide my groups or my classes into like the traditional classroom, like 6 rows. And so I have 3 teams, 2 rows. Okay, so beforehand I have on my front desk I have cutouts of the different foods, these different foods that I made. 3 sets of them. So a little piece of fried chicken, a little bowl of spaghetti that I've drawn and put on a piece of paper. Okay, and the word cards are still behind me. So I'll have 1 kid from each group come up. And then I, as a teacher, I'll point at a word, and the class has to say the word, spaghetti. Now the kids that are standing there, they each have to find the spaghetti bowl that's in front of them, and their group gets a point. So like word association with the picture. And then building off that, class conversation. So from those picture cards, I'm going to pass out 1 to each student. Have them look at it, have them put it in their pocket. Okay? Piece of fried chicken, put it in your pocket. Okay? Now they have to go around the classroom, which that gets problematic sometimes, but it's still fun. And there's a little chant, like some like cheerleaders. I like, how about you? You know, like that. So they have to say that to the, like, if they have fried chicken. I like fried chicken, how about you? If the person doesn't have the fried chicken card, they have to move on to another person until they've all found each other that have the little fried chicken cards. Does that make sense? Are you guys with me?
Yes.
It's getting
Can
late.
I
No, I'm not
ask a
done.
question?
Just wait.
Okay, I will wait. Go on.
Okay. Then to kind of cool down after that assignment, because things get kind of wild, you know, when people are moving around, have them come back, sit down. I pass out a worksheet. The worksheet has logos of different American food restaurants in Taiwan. This is the point where I take down the word cards from the board. Okay, now it's like 5 different logos, like McDonald's, Pizza Hut, Domino's. Well, Starbucks, I didn't have coffee, but and then they have to write what that place has. And even if they need some help, maybe I'll come to their desk and I'll clap it out, you know, for McDonald's, hamburger, you know. But I'm not going to help them spell it. They can try to form the word. And so that's the writing activity for class. Now, I want to include more, so for the wrap-up, the warm-up assignment, I love to draw. I think not allowing drawing or that creative outlet is like a horrible thing to take out of the classroom. So I really disagree with that because I think, you know, we have multiple intelligences that we have to work on. And so my homework assignment is, I just went to the Shinju night market recently. So my idea is to have the kids think of if you wanted to have your own night market stand, okay, on your paper. For the kids that don't want to draw the stand, I'll have a paper that has a stand drawn, and they can just fill in like the name of their stand, what they want to sell, and like a little picture of their face, you know, fried chicken stand. For the kids that are more creative, they can draw the stand themselves, draw themselves in and color it. And if we have time, like I'm going to show them examples because I'm going to want to make one myself, you know, because I would love to have a night market stand. And so I'll show, you know, like a basic one, like this is okay. But like for some of the creative kids that want to go home and work on it, like I encourage that as well.
Okay, so I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
I like the art aspect of it really a lot. So my question is, but not all kids will have art supplies, and maybe not all kids are into art.
For sure.
How will you address that in the lesson if you actually have to do it in class?
Teacher can't draw.
Exactly. That's why I said the kids that can't, like I have like a stand, and they have the picture cards, you know, so they can draw a piece of pizza, you know, and a stick man. Anybody can draw a stick man and write the word hot dog 20 NT, you know, like simple. You know, as long as they're completing the assignment, something to turn in. But it gives the kids a chance that like to have that outlet. Like they say, oh, you know, can I do this? Can I do this? Then you know, they go home. They can have something fun to work on, turn that in a little more. And like I talked to you about, like merchandising, like taking these English ideas and trying to find out ways of being able to use them. Like, because that's why we teach them English, right? So that they can make money someday with the language skills.
So I actually think your lesson is really broad and cover many different parts, and it can actually be broken up into at least 3 separate lessons.
Possibly, yeah.
Minimally. Like before even doing logo, you would have to teach what a logo is. And then like you mentioned McDonald's, Starbucks, Pizza Hut, the kids might not know these names in English, period. So you might actually have to teach the English names of McDonald's, Starbucks. When you say Starbucks, if you show them the logo, they'll get it.
No, it's
then
not.
They'll tell you the Chinese name, but maybe they can't say Starbucks.
It's not about that. It's just like I have the McDonald's logo and there's a line underneath, and they have to put from my vocabulary what they sell. You know what I mean? So like, it's like there's a KFC sign. They just have to write fried chicken.
So, what would you have in your card? Like on your card, you will have a picture and then you have a word, or
Well,
the spelling?
like a word bank. You know, like the
Just words.
the no, you know, and then they see the logo, and people know in Taiwan, you know, they see the McDonald's logo, hamburger.
So actually, whenever possible, have a picture next to your word, because they might look at chicken, the word chicken, and not know it's chicken. Because even at grade 5, some of them, if you show them THE, they wouldn't know it's the. Or if you show them CAKE, they may not be able to read that word very well and know that it's cake. So make sure you really do have pictures with your words, otherwise, or you show them somewhere along the way of your lesson, so that they can sort of hold on to that and know how to fill in the worksheet or whatever you're asking them to do. Because then you'll get some really funny answers. What do you find in McDonald's? You will find a beer, an ant. You know, like they'll put in words that they know from grade 1 from their, you know, ABC conversation. And then you're gonna get some really, really funny sentences. But you'll be really sad because then, you know, you wouldn't have achieved the teaching goal.
Okay.
So
It
just
still might
word
make me
of-
happy because I like those when they turn these into.
Yes, so, but just a word of caution, because you do have to give a grade for your worksheet, and then you do have to record your grades and then turn them into your own teacher. So if you do have to mark it wrong, because it's not done correctly, you know, the parents might freak out because, you know, the answers are wrong, and then your co-teachers will freak out because the score will be like 20. You know, so there has to be a balance, so try to help the kids yourself, so they don't have to review the worksheet again, because then you will get calls from the parents to the home teacher about that. It might not be so fun. Yeah. Sorry.
Don't be sorry.
All right, shall we move on to the next group?
I think we do together.
Okay.
No, we
Well, we did the first unit in the book, What Are You Doing? Present Continuous, and we just first chose our final product and worked backwards. So we thought by the end of week 3 we want them to do a layout of a house with different people in each room doing different things. And after that sentence like, he is running.
because our previous vocab was actions around daily actions.
Yeah, really actually. So they had to they have this layout of a house with a picture of each one, had to write a sentence about each action. So because the Chinese teacher teaching the vocab in the book, we chose different ones that can be used around the house, like making breakfast, lunch, dinner, taking a bath, taking a shower, washing. And we chose a different sentence pattern. Instead of are you making dinner, we changed it to no, sorry. You, yeah, so what are you doing? We change I am running to are you running? We change it to yes and no answer. Yes? Yeah, okay. And so basically, you turn to the water.
Yeah. Well, we do the warm up. We do a good morning song, and then we teach them new vocab that we've decided on. The activity